So here we have it, the Huawei Pura 70 Ultra versus the top scorer, the top leader on my ranking board in terms of smartphone cameras, the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. So let's try out and let's see which one is king supreme. So let's get started. I'm looking at the specs here of the Pura 70 Ultra versus the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. We have a quadruple setup here on the Oppo where we have only 3 lenses, 3 sensors on the Huawei. We have a 1-inch type sensor on both, a variable aperture on the Huawei, which the Oppo doesn't have, but the Oppo has 2 periscope zoom cameras where the Huawei only offers 1 periscope zoom cameras. Both also have a good ultra wide angle there as well, and top leading front facing cameras there as well with autofocus. And I think we start off with a bit of videos from the front facing cameras. Front-facing video with the Huawei Pura 70 Ultra using 0.8 times magnification, and I can go to white. So you see that I'm in a park here right now near the Rhine. There's a little bit of high water there going on, and yeah, I'm recording at 4K 30 frames per second. I can do up to 4K 60 frames per second, but then sadly I lose the HDR vivid feature, which is like the HDR recording mode here. Can go to 1 times if I want to, so this is like this, and I even have autofocus, so I can hold my Oppo Find X7 Ultra here, the lens in there, and you will see it will focus on this and then back to me. 0.8 times I think is the ideal vlogging kind of space here. What do you think? And this is now the Oppo Find X7 Ultra front-facing camera, also 0.8 times magnification. Here we cannot go wider, even if I want to. There's no possibility to go wider. I can go to 1 times and I can go to 2 times even. I want to show some earbuds that I have on, for example. And you noticed there is autofocus as well. So I can hold my Pura 70 Ultra in and it should focus. Is it focused? Like a bit of mirror kind of finish. Let's do it like this. Again. Focus. I think it's focusing on the Pura, maybe on the background there. Maybe on the reflection. It's just too good, this autofocus. Anyway, the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. Did you notice something in terms of audio? Yes, I'm using the mics from the Oppo Enco X2 here. And I have also the Huawei FreeBuds Pro 3 that I use with the Pura 70 Ultra. So let's check out the main camera sensors. And now the main camera sensor of the Huawei Pura 70 Ultra using my FreeBuds Pro 3 as audio source. There's no wind here, so shouldn't be any issues. I'm using the 1-inch type sensor, probably at f2 right now, and 4K 30 frames per second. Of course I can switch between all the lenses. So let's go to the ultra wide angle just by tapping a button there. Now we are on the ultra wide angle. What do you think about this one? Pretty wide, pretty large kind of sensor as well for this ultra wide angle. Sadly not as large as on the predecessor that had like a 1/1.5 inch size sensor. Or 1/1.4 9-inch size sensor. This is like a little bit smaller there, but at least we get higher megapixels there as well. And we have a periscope zoom, so let's try to zoom in on something, like for example this tree there in the background and the sculpture in front of the tree. So let's go directly to 4 times zoom, and you see it switch lenses. I can go to 10 times, and in 4K 30 at least I can go to 15 times zoom here. So what do you think about this one? Now the Oppo Find X7 Ultra's 1-inch type sensor is a new Elite 900 sensor. By the way, the birds that you hear here are parrots actually. They really live here since like decades already. And yeah, this is why they're like shouting to each other all the time. Probably. Not sure. 4K 30, 4K 60 frames per second on all lenses are possible here, just like on the Huawei Pura 70 Ultra. This is the main camera sensor. I have, of course, the possibility to switch between all lenses. Just we have 1 lens or sensor more here. Let's go to the ultra wide angle, press of a button, as you can see here, pretty wide as well. How is dynamic range here? How are the colors? What do you think about this? How is stabilization? I'm walking very, very slowly here right now, to be honest, but stabilization is so good on both that you don't notice any differences. Let's switch to the zoom option there. Let's go directly to 3x zoom. And it switch lenses a little bit smoother, I think, than the Huawei. And then 6 times also switch lenses. And I can go up to 10 times. And even 18 times here at 4K 30 frames per second. There's a limit on both when it comes to 4K 60 frames per second. I think they can only zoom up to 10 times there. But nevertheless, which one is clearer? I think this one, at least on screen, looks a bit clearer than the Huawei. What do you think? When we compare the front-facing cameras, and I did not realize that the sun was out on the Pura 70 Ultra and not so much on the Find X7 Ultra. In terms of colors, they're almost the same, but because the sun was out on the Pura 70 Ultra, we have a bit of different colors there. When we take a look at the detail levels, it's quite detailed there on the Pura 70 Ultra. Even if I go to frame by frame, I can go to the ultra wide angle, which I don't have on the Find X7 Ultra, so this is the widest I can get there. Find X7 Ultra is a bit softer on my face there. Sometimes I have the feeling that it might have misfocused there, but the same I also had with the Pura 70 Ultra. I think it has something to do with the sun being in the background and a lot of shadows there casting through the trees. Anyway, both are doing fine. I think maybe a little bit more pleasant colors on the Find X7 Ultra, but we have some focusing issues there. It was focusing definitely on the reflection of the Find X7 Ultra, where when I was getting closer again here, the Pura 70 Ultra's focusing was working a little bit better. In general, I think we still have a bit more punchy colors on the Pura 70 Ultra. Stabilization is working fine on both. I like the wider field of view that we have on the Pura 70 Ultra, but we have also the zoom option on the Find X7 Ultra that might be coming in handy. And when we go back a little bit, you can see both are doing or struggling with a bit of overexposure there in the background with the HDR. So in general, I think both on par in terms of front-facing videos there. Some features here on the Pura 70 Ultra that the Find X7 Ultra doesn't have. On the other hand, the Find X7 Ultra some features that the Pura 70 Ultra doesn't have. It's a matter of taste. If you like the more look of the Pura 70 Ultra with a bit more punchy colors and warmer face tonality there, or a little bit more realistic, cool down colors on the Find X7 Ultra. When it comes to the main cameras on the back, both are doing a pretty similar kind of job. You will see that there's perhaps more details there on the Find X7 Ultra, the green grass there, where it's a bit of mushy there on the Pura 70 Ultra. When it comes to background blur, this is what you get with the Pura 70 Ultra. It's definitely using f2 here, where the Find X7 Ultra has also this a bit more busy background blur, but it's using f1.8. There's not much of a difference that you can see between f1.8 and f2. In terms of sharpness, I think maybe a bit tad softer there on the Pura 70 Ultra. You can go a bit further. You can see that there's a bit, both struggling a little bit with the shadows there, but it's a bit more lifted here on the Find X7 Ultra in comparison to the Pura 70 Ultra. Just a tiny bit there. And in terms of colors, the colors are a bit more realistic on the Pura 70 Ultra of my shirt, for example, which is much too blue on the Find X7 Ultra for some reason. And when we go in further, ultra wide angle is something where both have issues. We see the wider field of view on the Pura 70 Ultra, but look at the Pura 70 Ultra. What's happening with my face details? What's happening all over the place with the details there? Overblown sky, blooming all over the place, artifacts, very noisy. I think it has something to do because we are standing there right under dark trees and the sun was in the background. And the Find X7 Ultra, not much better there. Also blooming. Also my face like super mushy and not so sharp there. And if I go a little bit further, you can see, also maybe not as pronounced as the Pura 70 Ultra. There we have maybe something very similar. So here overblown, very, very soft. Here as well. So both are not doing so well, and maybe in terms of colors, I think the Pura 70 Ultra is doing better with this bit of warmish kind of colors because the sun was out. HDR and so on, maybe the Find X7 Ultra is doing a bit better. You can see some blue there in the sky, and it's not so mushy, so bad there. When we zoom in on something, and we just like go to the next lens there. This is 6x. You can see how much dramatic this changes from the 3x lens that we have here in comparison to 3.5 times lens. You can see colors are more realistic here actually, but also like a bit weird. We switch over, as you can see here. This is the main camera sensor still, and then it switched over. Difference in terms of lens there, and here on the Find X7 Ultra, I think, also a little bit there, getting a bit brighter, here get a bit darker. And here the 3x lens, pretty sharp, pretty good. a bit of punchy colors and a bit more realistic colors here on the Pura 70 Ultra, but less sharp. It was focusing, I think, here on the foreground there, and then maybe got the background there, but it's definitely a win, I think, for the Find X7 Ultra. And when we zoom in further, this is the maximum that you can get. Is it the maximum actually? Yeah, this is now the maximum that you can get. And let's compare it with the Find X7 Ultra. Of course, its 6x lens is like helping tremendously there. But even if we zoom in a bit further there to roughly the same kind of 10x, you can see it's a bit softer there, a bit more realistic looking, where here it's already borderline. So yes, the Find X7 Ultra wins in terms of zoom lens. I think main lens is basically the same, and ultra wide angle, both are not so good in this. Accidentally, the very hard test for both of them. But I think the Find X7 Ultra was a tad better there than the Pura 70 Ultra in this very challenging situation. So yes, the Find X7 Ultra takes the crown here in terms of video. Pura 70 Ultra is following a little bit behind there. Yeah, what do you think about this result? Here we have the photos on the left, the Pura 70 Ultra, on the right, the Find X7 Ultra. What you can see on first glance is that the Pura has a little bit of artificially shadowed up, brought the shadows up a little bit there, where the Find X7 Ultra has more realistic colors there for the shadows for sure, and also the green grass is a little bit less saturated than the Pura 70 Ultra. That has also a little bit more harsh contrast there. And it's a bit more yellowish and warmish on the Pura 70 Ultra. When it comes to detail levels, however, I think the Pura 70 Ultra is doing a little bit better there. It is like isolating the subject, which is in this case this goose, I think there's a goose or duck, this bird, from the background. The Find X7 Ultra with its 3x lens that I used here is not doing this. This is the 3.5 times on the Pura 70 Ultra and 3x on the Find X7 Ultra. And it's not doing this. Actually, it's like a little bit more than 3. I think it's also 3.1x or 3.2x there on the Find X7 Ultra. Nevertheless, it's not doing this so much in isolating the bird from the background, where the background is a bit blurry here on the Pura 70 Ultra already. I think that might be also has something to do with the larger aperture that we have on the Pura 70 Ultra. Even though it is not so far away on the Find X7 Ultra, it is noticeable, and the Find X7 Ultra has the larger sensor here as well. In terms of detail level, a little bit of more contrasty look on the Find X7 Ultra, so might be a bit more details there on the Find X7 Ultra, but it's hard to tell there. What I like about the Pura 70 Ultra is that you can see the eye clearly, where here it's just simply too dark, and the same goes for the other one there. Yeah, it's also very dark here, but at least you can see a little bit of a shimmer there of the eye that you don't see on the Find X7 Ultra. This is, like I said, 3.5 versus 3 times. You can zoom in even further. This is now 135mm, which is like 6 times on the Find X7 Ultra, and 160. Let me go. 160 divided by 27 is also, I think, yeah, roughly 6 times on the Pura 70 Ultra. And again, we have the same kind of colors there. We have the same kind of like a little bit like raised shadow, so you can see the eye there, where here everything remains black on the Find X7 Ultra. But the bokeh is pretty comparable, where you can see clearly it's a bit artificially done here. Also, you can see a little bit of stairs here and pixelation, because it's like beyond the optical zoom on the Pura 70 Ultra, and the Pura 70 Ultra is also like doing a little bit of this sharpening up that the Find X7 Ultra is not doing. It's the Find X7 Ultra here now at 300mm and at 10 times. So basically it's like you press the 6 times button again on the Find X7 Ultra and you reach up with 300mm, where on the Pura 70 Ultra we have a 10 times zoom there. You can see how dramatically the colors change there towards more the direction of the Pura 70 Ultra on the Find X7 Ultra, but with overblown highlights there in the background that you can clearly see that the Pura keeps in touch. And when it comes to detail level, you can see it is also reaching its maximum here on the Find X7 Ultra. You can see a little bit of a glimpse of the eye. Here in this case it's a bit darker. I think the processing seems to be a bit nicer on the Pura 70 Ultra, a bit more natural actually. It's a bit over sharpened there, but the detail level is pretty much on par there. And yeah, a bit more yellowish, warmish on the Pura 70 Ultra, a bit cooler on the Find X7 Ultra. But this harsh contrast is, I think, giving the win to the Pura 70 Ultra and not the Find X7 Ultra. What do you think? And also look at the color changes here for the green grass. Here it was perfect, and here it's like, yeah, not good. Let's go for close-up shots, because the Pura 70 Ultra is the macro expert, like you might have seen in one of my videos there. The Find X7 Ultra, I think, has also like a close-up focusing mode with the 6x lens. I tried to catch this bee, but I didn't caught it really. So let's focus on this, especially as it was flying away when I took the shot with the Pura 70 Ultra. When you take a look at here, this is, like I said, this is a 3.5 times zoom at 10 times, and this is the 6x zoom lens at 300 millimeters, so it's like 13.2 something times. And clearly we can see the winner in terms of detail is the Pura 70 Ultra here for sure. So close-up shots, macro shots, the winner is the Pura 70 Ultra, hands down. Ultra wide angle, quite interesting, more saturated colors on the Pura 70 Ultra that we can see directly, more realistic colors on the Find X7 Ultra for sure, but also a bit of weird contrast looking. Look at this here, it's a bit harsh of a contrast there. We don't have this so much on the Pura 70 Ultra, which I like a little bit more, and I think the Pura 70 Ultra has a bit of better processing, maybe. It is sharper all over the place. Yeah, it is a bit over sharpening eventually, but it's not too much over sharpening, I would say. Look at the tree, yeah, it's a tad over sharpened there for sure. But especially towards the side, you can see, first of all, the Pura 70 Ultra is wider with 13 millimeters and offers a sharper shot. Look at this here. And it does not look too over sharpened to me. Yes, some other elements eventually, but this is a dramatic difference here, especially if you look at this here and there. And it's not overly done, over sharpened on the Pura 70 Ultra like the Galaxy S23 series did or tend to make. I didn't test the S24, but I think they improved a little bit there. And the Find X7 Ultra has it a bit softer here as well. So I think the Pura 70 Ultra has the better ultra wide angle there. It's not maybe the lens or something like this as well on the Pura 70 Ultra, but it is a tad more detailed as well. Maybe the 40 megapixels spin down here to, what is it, 12.13 megapixels actually, is helping the Pura 70 Ultra as well. And here, yeah, it's quite soft. Yes, I think the ultra wide angle, even the color differences, Find X7 Ultra would win. The Pura 70 Ultra is more detailed there and sharper and has a wider field of view. It has to go to the Pura 70 Ultra here for sure. Then we go to the main camera sensor. We see the difference in terms of field of view. The Pura, just like Huawei always did, has a 27 millimeter here, so it's cropping in slightly. With the Find X7 Ultra has 23 millimeters, so there you can see the difference between those two. Both been down to 12.6 megapixels, so no issues there. See a bit more contrasty look on the Pura 70 Ultra. Actually, the green grass is much realistic, more realistic on the Pura 70 Ultra here. For some reason, the Find X7 Ultra has now punched it up a little bit there, especially you can see it here. Might be the added contrast on the Pura 70 Ultra, but it's also, I think, yeah, a little bit too punchy there on the Find X7 Ultra, a little bit. When it comes to sharpness, yeah, the Pura 70 Ultra is sharpening things up again, maybe a tad too much, but it is just a tad too less on the Find X7 Ultra here, and I honestly take maybe the little bit too much sharpening, then a little bit too less sharpening there, because you can see much more details. You can see like these, what they try to incorporate, like this plastic bones there, just to make it like more historical. It's not real bones there. It's a bit better there. And the sign, of course, a bit further away, but yeah, it's much clearer there on the Pura 70 Ultra. The green grass also has much more detail and defined details there than the Find X7 Ultra. And so if you want to crop in, I think the Pura 70 Ultra gives you a bit more flexibility, even though the Find X7 Ultra has a bit of a wider field of view. In terms of colors, like I said, besides the punchiness there, I don't notice anything there. Even the sky, basically the same color there, not much of a difference. What do you think about this one here between those two? So basically on par, I would say, there in terms of photos on the main camera sensor. Now again, 3x on the Find X7 Ultra versus 3.5 times on the Pura 70 Ultra. We have this little dog here. I photographed the dog statue, the golden one, the golden flying dog, flying mops, I think it's called. Mops is the race of the dog, at least in German. And yeah, there you can see a little bit more details here on the Find X7 Ultra. It's a bit soft already, but the bokeh is much more busy on the Find X7 Ultra, where the Pura 70 Ultra, thanks to its larger aperture, has nicer bokeh. Foreground, both very, very sharp. Again, I think a little bit more details on the Pura 70 Ultra in comparison to the Find X7 Ultra here. But it might be over sharpening, because when you look at here, it's very comparable and maybe even a little bit more detailed here on the Find X7 Ultra. So it's very, very close between those two here. Basically on par there, back and forth between those two. I think we have to check out some portrait shots later on, and I like the bokeh a bit better on the Pura 70 Ultra, and it's a bit more cropped in. That helps also sometimes with portraits and such things. So basically on par there between those two. When it comes to further away zooms, however, then this is like 145 versus 135, which is like 6 times roughly on both. And we see already the colors more natural on the Find X7 Ultra, where especially like on the statues here, there's a little bit of green maybe, but it is not as much as it's pronounced here on the Pura 70 Ultra, so it loses its advantage that it maybe had like in earlier shots there in terms of, or at least on par with detail levels. And you can see that like the processing there in the background is also bad, where the Find X7 Ultra has like the better, because it's like an optical lens, they can use the better resolution. It's close, but the Find X7 Ultra is definitely a winner here for those far away shots in terms of colors and detail levels for sure. And then the main camera sensor, again, what we can see here clearly again is a bit of more contrasty look on the Pura 70 Ultra and a less contrasty look on the Find X7 Ultra. I think the Find X7 Ultra is not overpunching the sky color so much as the Pura 70 Ultra is doing. In terms of detail level, again, the same thing that we saw earlier. So the colors are going to the Find X7 Ultra, I think, and the Pura 70 Ultra is sharpening things up a little bit more. So it looks a bit sharper. Is it over sharpened? Look at the window here, for example, and compare it with the window here. I don't think so. It's a bit more warmish here on the Pura 70 Ultra as well. Look at the brick wall there. It's a bit softer here. It's a bit sharper, but it's not, I don't get this like Samsung vibes with like completely over sharpened everything and completely over sharpening artifacts or such thing here on the Pura 70 Ultra, where the Find X7 Ultra looks more like a digital camera, I would say. It'll give me a little bit softer. Pura 70 Ultra, yeah, has more of a smartphone look, but it's not too over sharpened, like I said. And I like this tad of more sharpening, because it allows me to crop this, for example, to have like this statue just alone, where on the Find X7 Ultra it would be like a little bit blurry already. Yeah, this is for that. So in general, I give them the same points here, because the colors I like on the Find X7 Ultra a little bit more. But yeah, sharpness, I tend towards to go to the Pura 70 Ultra here. And now we come to portraits, 2x portraits first. Again, the Pura 70 Ultra is warming things up a little bit more. The Find X7 Ultra has more natural colors in terms of detail levels there. I think both doing a fine job. Again, a tad too over sharpened maybe on the Pura 70 Ultra, and perfectly sharp on the Find X7 Ultra, I have to say, for portrait, definitely. The eye colors they get right, the detail levels is good, the eyebrows don't look too artificial on both, I would say. I think the color of my hair is more realistic on the Find X7 Ultra. It's a bit darker maybe on the Pura 70 Ultra. Maybe it's the added yellow there as well. And the difference in terms of like it's 2x on both is like, because 23 times 2 is 47, and 27 times 2 is like 54, at least when Huawei is doing the math right. Anyway, this is this in terms of colors. Yeah, a bit more punchy colors here as well. A little bit less punchy colors, more realistic colors, definitely on the Find X7 Ultra. And the next shot here is now at 3 times on the Find X7 Ultra and 3.5 times on the Pura 70 Ultra. Again, it is like more exaggerated here, more yellowish and more contrasty look on the Pura 70 Ultra. I don't like it, it's a bit too contrasty there, especially my hair, the color is wrong. The detail level is fine, I would say, for this kind of shot. You can see, if you really look closely, that it's doing some artificial things with the eye there to enhance it a little bit more. Where now, take a look at the Find X7 Ultra, which is like the portrait king, like I said before already, all the time. It's just like miles away, mind-blowingly good on the Find X7 Ultra here for this portrait. I think nothing comes close there. The Vivo X100 Pro is, I think, pretty close. Would even, I think, beat the Pura 70 Ultra in terms of portrait here. Or at least be equally as good as the Pura 70 Ultra, if not a little bit better there, because you can see a little bit the eyebrows, like it's like painted, repainted, where you don't see it so much on the Find X7 Ultra. So the Find X7 Ultra is the portrait king still here at 3x, hands down. And even the colors here of the shirt and the detail level, you can see it's much better there. In terms of cutout, I think both are doing a fine job there. There's nothing that I would complain about in terms of cutout. I like the colors. The Find X7 Ultra is just simply on another planet here. And if you zoom in further, because the Pura 70 Ultra doesn't have a button, but you can like slide in between, which is quite interesting, because I could also go not to 1x zoom, but also 1.5x zoom and still have the portrait effect that I don't have on the Find X7 Ultra. So this is a win slightly for usability for portraits on the Pura 70 Ultra, because you can do this effect also in between. Like I could like go also to 3x, but I did not know about it. Just at the end, I saw that you can slide in further at 5 times. 5 times versus 6 times. Interestingly enough, both are falling apart a bit. You can see here the Pura 70 Ultra, because it's like completely like digital zoom in kind of effect of the 3.5 times. And the Find X7 Ultra, why? Because actually it should have a 6 times zoom lens, but it is just utilizing the 3x for the portrait here. Probably because the 3x is so good. The colors are also very good there again. But in terms of detail level, both on par, I would say. There's nothing much. You could even argue that there is a bit more detail there. It's a bit more artificially sharpening and more artificially enhanced details there on the, look at the eyebrows there as well. And look at the eyelashes there as well. A little bit more of detail there on the Pura 70 Ultra, but it's like artificially done. And in terms of background, blur and cutout, I think both are doing a fine job there as well. On par when it comes to the 6S zoom. So yes, portraits is a win for the Find X7 Ultra, but it's not by a huge margin. The 3x, yes, by a huge margin. The 2x and the 6x, in comparison to the Pura 70 Ultra's 5x, not much of a difference. Not much of a difference. I like the colors, however, better on the Find X7 Ultra. So in general, I think it's a win for the Find X7 Ultra here. Now let's check out the zoom again to see which one can zoom further and which one is the tele-zoom champ, because Huawei is doing pretty good there. They improved slightly, I think, only on the P60 Pro here in this regard. And the Find X7 Ultra is doing a tremendous job. This is now 10 times versus 10 times. So we have 270 because it's 27 millimeters 1x on the Pura 70 Ultra and 225 for some reason on the Find X7 Ultra. Nevertheless, when you take a look at this shot here, both actually on par. I would even give it maybe to the Pura 70 Ultra, just because it's a tiny bit less overexposed than the Find X7 Ultra and gets the colors a bit. This is like a little bit of a haze going on there. And also, yeah, this is more readable, I would say. But this is just a fluke on the Find X7 Ultra, because if I zoom in further, you can see how much better it looks like already. It's very comparable now to what the Pura 70 Ultra does. This is like 673 is like 30 times zoom, and now we go to the Pura's 30 times zoom. Keep in mind it's a slightly bit more cropped in there, and this is what you get with the Pura 70 Ultra if I go to 100%, and this is what you get with the Find X7 Ultra. And now the Find X7 Ultra is using its dedicated 6x zoom lens, and if it's using its dedicated 6x zoom lens, there's no chance that the Pura can win here against the Huawei, against the Oppo. And yeah, the Oppo is winning here clearly, as you can see, in terms of zoom lens. So I give the Find X7 Ultra definitely the win. This is 100 times zoom. Again, here you can see how much like pixelated it is, how great it looks on the Find X7 Ultra still. And yeah, that I can go Find X7 Ultra even 120 times, just a little bit more, and it's just fantastic. So in terms of tele zoom lens, yeah, the Pura 70 Ultra can keep up until I think 10 times, but when it goes beyond 10 times, 30 times, Find X7 Ultra is definitely winning here for sure. I see slight improvements of the Pura 70 Ultra in comparison, I think, what I saw with the P60 Pro. But I have to recheck with the images there. But overall, I think the tele zoom lenses are just still something where the Find X7 Ultra is winning. So to conclude this, main camera sensor is on par. Ultra wide angle is slightly better on the Pura 70 Ultra. Tele zoom for portraits, this is the Find X7 Ultra, better colors. 3x, Find X7 Ultra all the way, or the rest of the portraits. The Pura 70 Ultra is also pretty good, But when it comes to beyond 10x zoom, then it's a win for the Find X7 Ultra. So telecamera, definitely a win for the Find X7 Ultra. Find X7 Ultra will remain the camera king here, I'm pretty sure. Cannot imagine this in nighttime being tremendously different here. But wait a second, what about high-res mode? The Pura 70 Ultra has advertised this on their launch event already, and the Find X7 Ultra lately got a new update that has a so-called high-res mode. Both claim to shoot at 25 megapixels, and these are the shots that I get out of them. And yeah, keep in mind they both have a bit of a limitation there. You can see that what I calculate here, we have 25.4 megapixels on the Pura 70 Ultra and actually 26 megapixels on the Find X7 Ultra that you will get out of here. And again, we have a difference in terms of field of view, 27 millimeters versus 23 millimeters. So we have a bit of a wider field of view. And yeah, it was taken out of the window here, just a test shot, because I was taking extra high-res shots at night, but then later figured out, oh, they're just 12 megapixels, because in nighttime, if you don't have enough light, it will default back to the 12 megapixel files, probably to have all the nice improvements in terms of lifting up shadows and so on, and nighttime improvements actually. Nevertheless, let's take a look at this one. What we see, first of all, it's a wider field of view on the Find X7 Ultra, and we see a bit of more like contrasty look on the Pura 70 Ultra with all the blacks there. Look at the car there, look at the difference of the color here of the red in comparison to the Find X7 Ultra. It looks a bit harsher on the Pura 70 Ultra, like HDR is not so well done on the Pura 70 Ultra, where the Find X7 Ultra looks a bit better. But this is just my first impressions. When we take a look at the car itself and the license plate, you will see it's a bit of grainy, there's a bit of like noise going on. And when you compare it with the Find X7 Ultra, the Find X7 Ultra is doing tremendously better here, actually, with lots and lots of details, not having like this steps pixelation that we have here on the Pura 70 Ultra. So much nicer they're looking. But when we go back here and look at this car, for example, what I can see here at 100% is that it appears to me, yes, you have this a bit of noise and pixelation going on, a bit more detail on the Pura 70 Ultra. Same as with the pavement, as you can see here. It might be post-processing, maybe over-sharpening on the Pura 70 Ultra. I'm not so sure about it, but it appears to me to be a little bit more detailed there. It's keeping more noise in there. I'm not sure. I hope they are optimizing this still, because I like the Find X7 Ultra's cleariness there and not this like pixelation, a little bit better there, I have to say. And then we take another shot here, and this has been taken also with the 26 or 25 megapixel one. And here I want to just demonstrate to you the difference in blur, first of all, because the Pura 70 Ultra chose f4 here as aperture, where we have on the Find X7 Ultra f1.8. So keep that in mind. There's also like then a difference in terms of like shutter speed. We have a higher shutter speed on the Find X7 Ultra, of course. And also in terms of ISO, we have a higher ISO on the Find X7 Ultra for some reason, and it's a lower one on the Pura 70 Ultra. Again, we have a more contrasty kind of look, a bit more darker blacks there, and a little bit less darker, less contrasty kind of look on the Find X7 Ultra. Let's zoom in and let's take a look at the detail levels, and here you will also see that it's looking much cleaner there on the Find X7 Ultra there, where the Pura 70 Ultra has a little bit of noise going on already, and it looks a bit pixelated there. So the same issue that we had before. So I think the Find X7 Ultra, even though it's much later where they added this 25 megapixel mode, did a better job than Huawei when it comes to this kind of thing. Huawei is still impressive there, but if you compare it with the Find X7 Ultra, I think it's lacking. And now it's becoming interesting, because does it really bring anything, give you anything with the 24 versus the 12 megapixels. So now I switch to another photo. This is actually the 12 megapixel one on both, as you can see here. And again, f4 on Huawei for some reason on the Pura, and the Find X7 Ultra at f1.8. And when we take a look at the shot and details there, you can clearly see it is better, especially on the Find X7 Ultra. It is so much better there. as you can see, it's not only closer, but it gives you so much more details. It's much sharper than the 12 megapixel, which is kind of a bit soft. But also on the Pura 70 Ultra, the 12 megapixel, does is 24 now. You can see it looks like upscaled 12 megapixels maybe. And here it is like the 12 megapixels. It looks better, even if I go in a little bit more. Okay, details are lacking a little bit there. But yeah, compare this and compare this here. Yes, you can get a bit closer with the Find X7 Ultra at 24 megapixels and the Pura. Let's go roughly the same. It's also a little bit better still. Maybe like this, more comparable. But the Pura 70 Ultra at 12 megapixels is actually better than the Pura 70 Ultra at 24 megapixels. I have the feeling, at least. So what do you think about this one? So yeah, high-res shots are working, and they're working in favor to the Find X7 Ultra here, that got this feature later than the Pura 70 Ultra. Maybe also of the newer sensor, but also maybe better optimized there on the Oppo device. Maybe Huawei can optimize this a little bit more in the future. A night video now on the Huawei Pura 70 Ultra using the default camera application's video mode. Internal mics, walking towards the light like always. How good is stabilization working here? We have a special sensor shift OIS here. Lights now behind me. What do you think about this one here? The aperture is opening up, wide open f1.6 here on this 1-inch type sensor, and this is one of the, actually the first and only one that has a 1-inch type sensor and sensor shift OIS, which is quite good. I'm walking towards the dark now, in the dark now, turning towards the light. How good is this looking here on the Huawei Pura 70 Ultra? What do you think? Can the Oppo Find X7 Ultra compete against the Huawei? Also 1-inch type sensor, but fixed f1.8 here on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. A bit loud now, car passing by. Nevertheless, hopefully you can hear me. I'm standing under the night now, and there's another car passing by now. And let that go as well. Now I'm walking away from the light in the background. How is stabilization here? How good are colors? How good is the microphone picking me up? And now walking towards the dark here, and now I'm turning around so that my face is like facing towards the light. What do you think about the Oppo Find X7 Ultra? How good is this one here? Let's take a look at the night shots. We take the shots with the main camera sensors first. What we will notice immediately is we have a much bluer sky, a bit brightened up sky on the Pura 70 Ultra. The lens flare effect here of the lights is a bit more dramatic on the Pura 70 Ultra. It was using here f1.6 this aperture, where you have f1.8 on the Find X7 Ultra. This is why it might be a bit brighter. At least it took the shot immediately, where the Find X7 Ultra took like a split second, one second and five and a half roughly to take this shot here. Both looking fine, also color-wise, maybe a bit warmer on the Pura 70 Ultra, a bit more greenish on the Find X7 Ultra, but very, very slight. And when we take a look at the details here, you see that it appears to be a bit sharper on the Find X7 Ultra there, at least the text, but it's also a bit noisier, where the Pura 70 Ultra keeps it a little less noisy and a bit more smooth there. All over the place, however, we see almost the same with what we saw with the daylight shots. A bit sharper picture on the Pura 70 Ultra there in comparison to the Find X7 Ultra. Find X7 Ultra again like 23 millimeters, and the Pura 70 Ultra at 27 millimeters. So yeah, it's a bit closed up there. This is what you can see definitely. Not much of a difference. I can see the sky looks a bit more dramatic on the Pura and a little less dramatic on the Find X7 Ultra. Both are doing a fine job there, also in the fine details there that you can see here. And yeah, here you can see a bit of the HDR effect going on that you also see a little bit there on the Find X7 Ultra. In general, I like the sky a little bit better on the Find X7 Ultra, but it's like a matter of taste here. Now let's take zoom shots, 3.5 times versus 3 times. We see basically the same colors as we saw here, a bit darker maybe on the Find X7 Ultra, and here also a bit darker. When we take a look at the shots there and the detail level, both are doing a fantastic job here, I would say, with a bit of like brighter colors and more punchy colors on the Pura 70 Ultra, where the Find X7 Ultra has it a little bit darker there, but both are not so realistic. It's somewhere in between that is more realistic there. When we take a look at the detail level and at the background, you can see that the post-processing of the Pura 70 Ultra is doing a little bit more here with the text. The text down below you can read, and also it's a bit closer up there. and both doing fine job when it comes to the HDR there. And also the backgrounds, the dark places here are also like nice. You see a little bit more again on the Pura 70 Ultra, but you can see also a bit of more noise creeping in already on the Pura 70 Ultra that you don't see on the Find X7 Ultra, because the Find X7 Ultra has the larger lens there, for sure. When we zoom in even further, this is now 6 times zoom on both. I wanted to get the 6 times on the Find X7 Ultra. However, if you take a look at the metadata, it was using the 3x lens there instead of the 6 times lens, but we come back to it later. So when I was comparing them, initially I was like, oh, that's a bit bad. I think the Pura 70 Ultra is doing a better job there. It's a bit more detailed here, especially the little logos are much more detailed there, and we don't have so much noise creeping in. There's a bit of noise for sure already, like at 6 times, because it's like crop from 3.5 times, but here you cannot read what's written here. You can read it without any issues there. The same goes for the background there. Much better readable on the Pura 70 Ultra, but like I said, it's not using the 6x lens. And when I zoom in even further, this is now 10 times zoom. It becomes even more evident that this is a huge win for Huawei. But then I discovered, okay, it's not using the 6x lens, so I was using the master mode. The master mode doesn't do so much HDR and night processing, but there I can at least choose the 6x lens, and then we're using the 6x lens, as you can see by the f-stop number, it's really using the 6x lens, and then it becomes a lot better there. It's not mind-blowingly good, but look at the little text here and the logo there, it's much clearer than on the Pura 70 Ultra, so the 6x is working much better. But you can see already this little glow going on there, so it has some issues there, and also here the text much more readable, much cleaner as well, not so noisy as well. So I'm not sure why they're holding it back for the night mode, because I think the Find X7 Ultra could use the 6x lens here also in such situations. And when I go to 10 times, it becomes a little bit less good on the Find X7 Ultra, because there's a bit blurry. It's introducing a little bit more blur, but in general, if you don't have this blur, which is probably happening due to the shutter speed very low, and we have a large lens there, it would have the cleaner image there for sure than the Pura 70 Ultra. But yeah, look at this text, look at this text there. You can see if it wouldn't be so blurry, then the Find X7 Ultra would definitely pull it off there and would win this zoom level, just like in the daylight shots. Nighttime shot ultra wide angle is quite interesting, because the Pura 70 Ultra struggles here. It struggles a lot with all the lights. You can see like the flares are like going on here like crazy. We have some flares there on the Find X7 Ultra, but not so pronounced as on the Pura 70 Ultra. I thought, okay, it's garbage probably on the Pura 70 Ultra with all the flares going on. But then I was surprised that there's not much of a difference. There's a little bit more details on the Find X7 Ultra there, but also a bit more noise, where the Pura 70 Ultra has a little bit less noise there. So I'm surprised also here towards the sides and detail levels are almost the same. There you can see it's slightly blurrier. It's a bit more details there on the Find X7 Ultra, but it's almost the same there at nighttime. I took another shot with the ultra wide angle, and here the Pura 70 Ultra blew me away, because it took like also just a split second for this night processing here, but created a brighter picture. You can even like see it's still struggling with the lights there. So this is an issue there. This is why it's not 100% sharp when the Find X7 Ultra is doing a slightly better job, but also has overblown highlights somehow, which the Pura 70 Ultra keeps the highlights a little bit better there in tag. Both are doing equally bad, a good job with a little bit more sharpness on the Find X7 Ultra, with again a little bit more noise there as well. Here especially it becomes evident that there is a bit more noise, but also a bit more sharpness on the Find X7 Ultra. So yeah, I'm surprised, but in nighttime they are basically equal, the Pura 70 Ultra and the Find X7 Ultra, with I lean towards the Find X7 Ultra a little bit more than the Pura 70 Ultra. And then we come to another zoom test. This is now 10 times zoom on both, with this very bright object there to see how they're doing this. And here, yeah, again, it is this time, if you go to 10 times, no, it's not 10 times, it's 13.2 times zoom, it is switching to the 6x lens, as you can see here by the f-stop number, and ISO 1600, and here it's ISO 250 only, a Pura 70 Ultra, with this large f2.1 and 10 times zoom. And yeah, which one you like better? I think there's a bit of overblown highlights. You don't see that much, that there's a text underneath this bigger text there, where here you can see it at least a little bit better there. It's a bit more noisier on the Pura 70 Ultra for sure. And then we can also go to 30 times, and yeah, 30 times here is different than 30 times there, because like of the different one-time lens that we have, and the more you zoom in, the more it becomes evident. But here at the 30 times zoom, you can clearly see that I think the Huawei is doing a better job here in this regard, with the readability there and the colors as well, because it's blue. And yeah, here it got the blue, here it's black for some reason. So yes, and it was also still using the 6x zoom lens. So this for that. And then also quite interesting, there's sometimes the Find X7 Ultra doesn't kick in the night mode. This is now the 2.6 times 2, so it's like 6x zoom, and here also 6x zoom. Basically, but this is again using the 3x cropped in, and when you take a look at 3.5 and 3x cropped in, they're basically the same. There's a color difference there. It's like more orange. This is like more red. This is more orange, and yeah, the color difference is somewhere in between, but it's more going towards the Pura here. The Pura is brightening things up a lot, which is quite nice, but also having a lot of noise. But the X7 Ultra is not better. It has also a lot of noise there going on. So yeah, this is what you get by default. And looking at the background there, overblown highlights, I think basically the same. There's a slight difference. There was a person, I think, sitting there. A bit more orangey, a little bit more white there, a little bit brightened up there. This kept a little bit more darker. And the selfies are quite interesting, because I think I declare the Pura 70 Ultra together with the Honor Magic 6 Pro Selfie King because of this here, nighttime for example. Both have autofocus, the Find X7 Ultra and the Pura 70 Ultra, but the Pura 70 Ultra is doing a better job in terms of detail level. You see bokeh is much more pronounced as well in this portrait mode. The colors are a bit wrong, because this is the wrong color. It has like more of this color, even though it's not so orange. It's a bit more darker reddish, but it's not this like pinkish kind of red that we see on the Find X7 Ultra there with the background. I like this bokeh boards, very, very nice. Here is a bit more busy and a bit more processed looking, and also the detail level on the Find X7 Ultra, even though it has like the 32 megapixels that we see here, and here we only have 13 megapixels. It is just, if you zoom out a little bit, like getting it roughly the same, then you see it is very, very comparable here, and it's a matter of taste then which one you choose. I like the eye color, which is more accurate on the Pura 70 Ultra. Overall, the image is a bit too warm on the Find X7 Ultra. This has something to do with an issue. Find X7 Ultra, if you have night light turned on, it's like turning the whole screen white, but it doesn't turn off night light, so you get a very warm kind of picture. It's not always what you want. On the Pura 70 Ultra, even if your night light turned on, it's getting white. It's like turning off the night light for this. So this is like a little trick there. Otherwise, yeah, we have high resolution, but it's softer than the 13 megapixels that we have on the 13 Ultra, and you have to zoom out a little bit, then you get something very comparable. Maybe a little bit of re-editing here on the Pura 70 Ultra to optimize my face, but I think the Pura is doing a better job there overall on this selfie camera. And then we come back to RAW. I know some people are fans of RAW images. These are the RAW images that you get here. The Pura 70 Ultra, just like the Mate, has a very noisy RAW image. So as you can see, if I zoom in, lots of noise going on there. No HDR processing apparently, at least, or it's bad HDR. And the Find X7 Ultra is doing some HDR, I think, or it's like doing some denoising at least, because it doesn't have any noise in this RAW, almost nothing in terms of noise there, but also lacking then some details. Look at the background there, for example, how much more smooth it is, and look at here how much more detailed it is. Yes, because of noise. If you do noise reduction, probably on the Pura 70 Ultra, it would be a little bit less. But also you have the possibility to choose. This is something that the X70 Ultra doesn't give you. It's just reducing the noise, which is not always what you want. And then we have a RAW Max version on the Find X7 Ultra. And to be completely honest, I don't see much of a difference between the RAW Max and the RAW mode there. You can also like go back, take a look at the metadata. We have 12.6 and 29, and when you go to the next one, we have 31 and also 12.6. So it's a bit of more information probably they're working with there, and it's getting maybe a bit more detailed here, especially in comparison to what we had before, but it's still lacking a little bit. And I think the colors are a bit more natural on the Pura 70 Ultra there. So this raw image, even though it's very noisy, I tend to lean towards the Pura 70 Ultra, because you have the possibility to work with a sharper image. that has a bit of more noise, but if you do noise, you can like choose your sharpness level, where on the Find X7 Ultra it's baked in already, and the denoising apparently, and you cannot do that so much. So this is for that. So I'm a bit surprised. Nighttime is changing a little bit there. I think the ultra wide angle is a bit better on the Find X7 Ultra, where the Pura 70 Ultra is striking back, especially with the longer zoom ranges. Nevertheless, I think the main thing is, because not so many people are taking the shots in the night, that if you completely overall take a look at this, the Find X7 Ultra still has the better zoom capability, and the Pura 70 Ultra still overall has the better ultra wide angle there, even though at nighttime it struggles a bit, but it's just a tiny bit worse than the Find X7 Ultra, and it doesn't justify the Find X7 Ultra to give a win here, just because at nighttime it has like this tiny bit better there in terms of processing than the Pura 70 Ultra. That is a bit worse there. Main camera sensors are doing pretty much the same kind of job. You saw it with the initial picture here. It's just a bit matter of taste, like how they are rendering the colors there. This is a bit more bluish, the sky. Here's a bit more black, the sky. Here's a bit more greenish tint. Here's a bit warmish tint. I like the bit more warmish tint there, but would take the blackish of the Find X7 Ultra. It's basically the same. There's not much of a difference with the main camera sensor there, like I saw also in daylight. So what do you think about those findings here with the nighttime photography? Let's come to the conclusion. TLDR, the Oppo Find X7 Ultra gets 4.535 points, and the Huawei Pura 70 Ultra gets 4.510 points. So the winner overall, and still old champion and new champion, is the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. The Huawei Pura 70 Ultra, however, is very, very close. You see already with the main camera photo quality, they're basically equal. Even though we have a older sensor on the Huawei Pura 70 Ultra, I think the processing and sharpening, it's adding enough of this bit of sharpening that this is still, I think, considered at the same level with the Oppo. Sometimes I like the colors on the Oppo a little bit better, less punchy kind of colors, more natural colors, but sometimes it's like a little bit too desaturated and doesn't fit, where the Huawei is doing a bit of a better job. Ultra wide angle is pretty similar here. Just at daylight, the ultra wide angle is just a lot sharper, a lot more detailed. You can crop in, and it has a wider field of view on top of this. It's just at nighttime where I think I see the Oppo Find X7 Ultra slightly bit ahead there, but it's overall, I think I would give it to the Pura 70 Ultra, because at daylight you have more flexibility, because you can crop in and have a little bit of a sharper shot. Zoom camera photos are also quite interesting, because it's a clear win for the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. Yeah, it has two periscope zoom lenses, so it should be a clear win here. But the 3X is surprisingly very equal to the Pura 70 Ultra in most cases, where you can see the huge benefit is of the sensor size is in portraits, because the Oppo Find X7 Ultra is blowing away the Huawei Pura 70 Ultra. Even though the Huawei did tremendous updates there in comparison to the Mate 60 Pro, for example, it is way ahead on the Find X7 Ultra still when it comes to portraits. What is quite interesting is that the zoom levels are quite comparable, up to 10 times, I would say. But afterwards, the Oppo is clearly winning with its 6X lens there that kicks in and gives you a little bit of more details for sure, especially when it comes to the longer zoom ranges. It flips a little bit at nighttime, where the processing of the Oppo is still a little bit lackluster, and Huawei is doing a bit better, but it's not ideal still. Nevertheless, I would give this win to the Oppo Find X7 Ultra here, and maybe the zoom camera photo quality can be raised to 4.6 times, but I have to compare it with the Vivo X100 Pro, the Pura 70 Ultra, that is. And then we can see a little bit more. Video recording quality is better on the Oppo, 4.7 times. It's just simply the colors are more consistent here, where the Huawei Pura 70 Ultra has a bit of issues still with red color casts on your face and weird colors if you don't have HDR enabled. At HDR you can enable up to 30 frames per second, but if you switch to 4K 60 frames per second, then you have to go to SDR, and then you have these weird colors going on. Both struggle a little bit in my comparison here with the ultra wide angle. Was a bit of a harsh condition, I would say. Nevertheless, I think the Oppo Find X7 Ultra is also a little bit, tiny bit better there when it comes to switching the lenses, even though there is a color cast shift as well. It's a tiny bit more smoother there, and yeah, video, it's a bit better on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. in comparison to the Huawei Pura 70 Ultra. Just at nighttime, I think the Pura 70 Ultra can strike back there in terms of video. Maybe I will raise the point there of the video mode as well. I'm just giving a bit of conservative numbers here for the Pura 70 Ultra, just like 4.5 times. Maybe if I compare it, so being on par with the Vivo X100 Pro and some others there, but I have to test the Pura 70 Ultra against the Vivo to see if it surpasses the Vivo there in video quality for sure. Autofocus performance is basically the same, 4.5 stars. They can sometimes hit or miss, especially the front-facing camera you saw with the Oppo Find X7 Ultra was focusing on the reflection instead of the Pura 70 Ultra's camera lens or camera island. Front-facing camera is better on the Huawei Pura 70 Ultra, 4.6 times, especially like in daylight. You get like way better kind of detail levels. The Oppo Find X7 Ultra has 32 megapixels, but it's not so detailed there. Colors also are a little bit hit or miss sometimes on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. It's not a bad one, but if you compare it, the Huawei Pura 70 Ultra remind me a lot of the very good selfie and front-facing camera on the Honor Magic 6 Pro. So I'm giving this here the benefit of the doubt and also 4.6 points. But I will really find it when I test out the Pura 70 Ultra against the Magic 6 Pro and also against all the other ones to just be sure that this is really the case. Camera UI I like a bit better on the Huawei Pura 70 Ultra. It's a bit more one-hand reachable, so all the items are on the right. You have this new menu, slide-out menu, that you can choose various different things. There are still a little bit of limitations, just like, for example, if I choose portrait mode, I cannot set the timer somehow for some reason, which is a bit of a weird kind of thing. The Oppo is a little bit worse because you have to use two hands, otherwise you won't get far with this there. At least on the Huawei, even if you want to set a timer, you have like the settings option that you can reach with one hand then and set then the timer to whatever you like to have. In terms of extra features, the Huawei actually lost 0.1 point. Otherwise it would have 4.5 points because we have Pro Video Mode, for example, which is lagging on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. We just have a Master Mode and we have a Movie Mode. The Movie Mode doesn't have all the features that the Pro Video Mode on the Huawei Pura 70 Ultra has. But the Huawei has both have excellent possibilities using the Bluetooth, external Bluetooth mics for recording, for example, which I really like. I was surprised how good this is really working. But the Huawei Pura 70 Ultra has the option also to use other Bluetooth devices, not only their own Bluetooth device, where the Oppo Find X7 Ultra can only use the Oppo Enco X2, not even like all the Oppo earbuds. And the Huawei can use all Bluetooth connected earbuds, which is like, I think, a little bit of an advantage. Otherwise, yeah, it would have got 4.5 points, just like the Mate 60 Pro, if it would have still the NM card slot for extendable memory that you can use for recording video onto the external memory card, which is not the case anymore. Sadly, for the Pura 70 Ultra, you only have dual SIM slot, but you don't have the possibility to put an NM card in there. At least it won't be recognized. You can put it in, but it won't be recognized because there's no NM card support anymore on the Pura 70 Ultra, which is a bit of a bummer. And I wonder why they did that, especially on a device that is more centered around photography and so on. Nevertheless, so these are the results. Let's take a look at the ranking. And this is what you get in terms of ranking. The Huawei Pura 70 Ultra ranks at number 2 in my ranking list. Yes, it is surpassing the Vivo X100 Pro. And this will be a lot of a controversial kind of thing. But where is it actually surpassing the Vivo X100 Pro? And when you take a look at the main camera photo quality, that's not it. If you take a look at the ultra wide angle photo quality, that's not it. If you take a look at the zoom camera photo quality, that's not it either. So where is it surpassing? Video recording quality is the same. Autofocus performance is the same. It is the front-facing camera mainly. The Vivo X100 Pro is mainly losing there in the front-facing department a lot against the Huawei Pura 70 Ultra, and the rest is basically the same. As you see, the camera UI is much better on the Vivo X100 Pro. The extra features are much nicer on the Vivo X100 Pro because you have lots of settings there. You can even set like the video mode without much denoising going on, such things. Very, very cool. So yes, the Vivo X100 Pro also lately got an update that improved a little bit there, here and there things. And I will test this out against the Pura 70 Ultra as well, because they're very, very close. You can see also in terms of points, they're very close, 4.495 and 4.510. So the biggest difference, if you are struggling with the Pura 70 Ultra and the X100 Pro, probably are the extra features, the nicer colors maybe that you get on the X100 Pro. So if you like colors, it's a matter of choice there. You like more colors and more color profiles, size, more color profiles there, for example. Extra features of the camera application, maybe the user interface of the Vivo X100 Pro, also because it is way better than the one on the Huawei Pura 70 Ultra. And then the only drawback that you get on the Vivo X100 Pro is that it has a worse selfie cam. So just keep that in mind. So don't debate me that the X100 Pro is better, the X100 Pro is better. I'm doing I have to not only take a look at the main camera, ultra wide angle zoom camera, but video recording quality, autofocus performance, front camera, camera UI, and extra features, and taking everything together as one package here with my criterias, the Huawei Pura 70 Ultra is slightly ahead of the Vivo X100 Pro. So that just as a disclaimer. So it's ranking number 2 here, sandwiching between the Oppo Find X7 Ultra and the Vivo X100 Pro. And this is pretty good for Huawei, doing a comeback. If you take a look at the Mate 60 Pro, that only ranked number 5 here in comparison to all the other good flagships there, even losing against the Oppo Find X6 Pro and such things. So yeah, we will see if the Huawei points or the Vivo points will change when I do a comparison Huawei Pura 70 Ultra against Vivo X100 Pro, and maybe in the future some other devices as well that I will check out, like the Honor Magic 6 Pro. Definitely some people are interested in this as well. And yeah, there's a video still coming out. The Honor came out already. Maybe if you hear or see this, the Honor Magic 6 Pro against the Mate 60 Pro. For those who are members of my channel, they already have this video. Otherwise, I'm not sure if the video will be out already. Anyway, that's it in terms of this video. If you have some questions regarding my comparison, some comments about it, write it down in the comment section. That's it. Until the next time. Bye.